It's hump day, y'all, here on Wonder Wonder Repeat. So we're here with Andrea Amos, and we are going to talk about this lady's upcoming major lifestyle change, one that I'm pretty jealous of. So stay tuned. One of these days, I'm going to get that changed to wear my pink Jeep. My pink Jeep has still not made that intro. We've been so busy lately.
You need to get that pink Jeep on there. It's so cute.
I love it. It's so much fun. So, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon?
I'm doing wonderful. We got our countdown going, so it's coming up quick.
Okay, so tell everybody about this countdown. What is going on in the life of you?
Well, in the short, we are moving to Costa Rica. So we wanted a completely different lifestyle change, and we've been doing the overlanding thing, not full time, but as much as we possibly can, which I think a lot of people are in this world the last 3 years.
For sure.
And now we decided to make the jump and head to Costa Rica and make that our base camp, and then do some exploring in Central and South America.
That's incredible. So have you been exploring North America a whole lot? Like that what was just I mean, have you been doing this all your life? Like someone doesn't just jump into South America and Costa Rica. I mean, I guess you could, but
Well, I'm not going to date myself, but it really started. I think a lot of it happens whenever we're young, right? We're highly influenced by our parents. And my dad's always been a traveler. And when I was tiny, I don't even remember. The only memory I have is eating ramen noodles. We had a Volkswagen camper van when I was 3 years old.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, we went up and it's the OG camper van too, in the OG years. That long ago. But I remember 4 years old, we went up the entire East Coast up into Canada and back, and took a couple of months. And the only thing I remember is eating dinner, and we had ramen noodles that night. And
and you were living the dream.
Yeah, I got in trouble because I was eating my ramen noodles like the long way. It was and then my dad and I took a cross country trip on my 12th birthday on a motorcycle, and that was a lot of fun. Yes,
we went. Like on the back of the motorcycle, you rode across country.
Yeah, my dad had like I think it was a 1982 Honda Silverwing, and not the Goldwing. Couldn't afford the Goldwing. We got the Silverwing, and we went across the South and then over to the West Coast. So it was a pretty cool adventure. And then from there, I grew up with I grew to have my own motorcycle and went across country twice, and then on my own with my own bike, and then got into four-wheeling, like rock crawling, the real hard stuff, and built some buggies in a past life, and worked with a lot of Jeeps and things like that. And now in my current life, we've evolved to having a Toyota 4Runner, and are enjoying that. It's a little bit more luxurious, I guess, and we're not quite as hard on the rock crawling. There she is. That's it.
Let's talk about your rig, because I got to see this at the Lady Overlander Radio Retreat, and that's actually where I met you for the first time. Mm-hmm. And you were pretty badass. Like, I love your rig and how you've outfitted it. So tell us about the year and the make and what all you've done to it.
So it's a 2019 Toyota 4Runner. I had a little BMW M3 and traded it for this. And I grow and love and appreciate all vehicles. So no matter what kind of vehicle it is. This was earlier on, the picture that's up right now. That's when we still had our soft top. And before we had our big awning. So we've lovingly named our 4Runner Bluebell, mine and my husband. And we've done a lot of...
You can see the blue right there,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. Like some of these pictures, it's really hard to tell she's blue, but blue.
You can see it up on the front, right there, the front.
Just that little spot.
The little peak between the mud.
Yeah. We put an Old Man Emu kit on it with the regular springs, and the second thing we put on it was the ARB bumper, and quickly realized we needed more heavy duty springs, so we switched out for the heavy duty springs. And then we put the Dobinson MRR suspension system on it, and it is, my husband had to really talk to me about it because it's a lot of money, and
Dobinson's not cheap.
Yeah, and it is amazing. The ride is cush. Like, I feel like I'm in a Cadillac in that thing. It's so nice.
I don't even know that lifestyle coming out of a Jeep.
Oh man, it's nice. And then we went through 4 different rooftop tents before we found one that we really loved. We've gone through 3 awnings and landed on the 180 awning. We had a 240, but unfortunately with the Batwing going across the back, whenever you lifted up the back hatch, it hit it. So we switched it to a 180.
So you now have the iCamper with is that the 23.0 or which awning do you have on there?
Yeah, that's the 2.0. Okay. So it's not the newest iCamper.
Yeah, I had the 2.0 too.
Yeah, and I love it.
I do too.
It's the bigger one, so it's got the king size bed in it, and it's super comfy. We put the snorkel on. Mainly, we travel Arkansas the most. That's like our weekend getaways. And when it's dry, it's dusty. And our air filters are filling up so fast that the snorkel really wasn't for necessarily water crossings like a lot of people think, but
dust.
It was keeping the dust out. Yeah. And it's done fantastic. We added on the back bumper a little bit later after we did those things, and it is a coastal off-road bumper. My husband and his friend welded the pieces together. It came like 500 pieces. So,
and I'm assuming this is the husband.
Yes.
Okay.
And I got the bumper put on. Gosh, we've got just a Smitty-built winch. A good quality winch. We didn't feel like we needed to go super name brand or high end. We've used it once, so we have to pull that thing out and make sure that the cable's good and all that about every 6 months, just to maintain it. What else?
I have to say, this view on Imogene is not typically what you see.
No,
this was so cloudy that day.
We couldn't see anything. It actually hailed about 5 minutes, 10 minutes before we took this picture. It was hailing.
We have experienced that as well up there. It was either hail or sleet. We were like not sure.
It was so crazy. But it was a pretty cool experience. One of the few trips that we've taken over there to Colorado. So it's great.
Yeah, we love Colorado. We're actually leaving tomorrow.
Oh,
we're going to be there until August the 1st.
That's perfect. You're getting away from the 100-degree heat.
Girl, we just got back from Oregon at Expo Pacific Northwest, which, by the way, the Pacific Northwest has totally taken over what we think about anything. Like, we loved Colorado, but I think now the Pacific Northwest is huge for us. It's just so beautiful there. But we stepped out and it's so beautiful in green, like everything's green, and that's just. But we stepped out in Oklahoma, like we were stopping to get gas, and that was like one of our first. It was rough. We were like can't breathe, as soon as you stepped out, and it was like 100 and something degrees, and we questioned life choices at that point.
We have not been outside hardly at all. We're up between 6 and 9 a.m. doing some things on the Forerunner outside, and then in the afternoon we're inside. It's just too hot.
Girl, it is. So do you and your husband have full-time jobs? Are y'all retired? How are y'all gonna do this? Because I know you sold everything, right?
We have, yeah. I worked for Starbucks for almost 6 years, and was in retail before that, fashion retail, and then hardline and softline. So have a lot of experience in the service industry. The last couple of years have just been tough. It's just been essential workers, coffee. We have to stay open. So it's been a tough few years, and we actually were going to make this a 5-year plan, and planning on doing this 3 years from now. But just with the stress of everything, we just sat down and really looked at our finances and said, I think we can do this now.
Yeah.
And so I haven't been working since the beginning of June, and it's been fantastic. And I thought by now I would kind of have a craving to want to go back or try to find something. It's not hit me yet. So I think we have a few more months left of recovery. And then my husband, he's 100% disabled vet. Okay. So he does get a pension, and that's what we're planning on using to supplement our income. And that's
well, I'm super thankful for his service. I appreciate all that he has done. And I hate that he was injured or that he's disabled, but hopefully he gets to enjoy life with you as to the fullest.
Another reason why we wanted to do it early.
Yeah.
Before age really set in.
Oh yeah, for sure. So what made you choose Costa Rica?
Oh, well, I have always had a fondness for Central and South America. Again, as I mentioned earlier, part of my travels started early in my childhood, and my dad and I used to go to Mexico at Christmas time, and not just the border. We would go really deep into Mexico. So I've been completely through the country 2 or 3 times on train, and to experience the holidays there, and just feel this really connectedness to the culture and the lifestyle there. And then I've had an opportunity to go to South America a couple of times traveling, and be very close to the indigenous peoples in the Amazon jungle. And it's just an incredible experience. It's just a whole different type of lifestyle. My husband, on the other hand, grew up as a missionary child. And so he lived in Costa Rica for 1.5 years as a child. And then they moved to Uruguay in South America for 3 or 4 years. And then when he was in the Army, he served in Panama for 2 years.
Okay.
So he's pretty fluent in Spanish, and same thing. Like the Latin culture always calls him, and cool. It tends to be something that he's drawn to. So between the two of us, it was just a natural stepping off point that felt as close to comfortable as it would be in your native country to be in a Latin American country. So that's why we picked Costa Rica.
That's awesome. And it's kind of a great location for you to be able to have that as your home base and to travel around.
It is so great. Same time zone as the US.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about jet lag or anything like that. Right. It's a 3.5-hour flight from Houston, and it's easy. Yeah. I mean, we can head north and travel the Central American countries. We can hit south. We have some connections in Panama. There's an overland bound group there, and they help with shipping of your vehicles to get across the Darien Gap. And so we're already in contact with them, and
that's so awesome.
It'll be easy to get over to Colombia to go to Central or to go to South America. So
yeah, I was going to ask, how do you put your vehicle on a shipper and then you've sold everything? So are you planning on purchasing a house there? I know you said that you have a home base. What are all the logistics there?
So we have a home in Costa Rica already. We purchased it. I used one of my old 401ks. I cashed it out. And
the best way to use your money right there.
Yes. And we bought a house there. We bought it in 2020, January of 2020. So literally when everything went crazy. So, but we've been Airbnb-ing it this whole time, and it's been really successful. So we've been able to have some income coming in from that too, to sock back for our funds. And then as we travel, as we go out long-term, our plans are to list it and continue to Airbnb it and have some additional income coming in to help fund gas or just to fund if we park in somebody's yard, the $10 that it costs or whatever it is. So just to help supplement some of that. So and we thought that would be a great first base.
That's awesome. So what do the kids think? Like, how old are your kiddos? What is the transition for them going to be like? Because they haven't exactly grown up like you have. I'm sure, camping with you guys, but not traveling like that. That's going to be a pretty big adjustment.
It is. It's so interesting because we're in, my husband and I are in that gap age group. So all of our parents are still alive and we have all of our kids. And so we're getting both sides. Our parents are like, "Are you crazy? What are you thinking?" And then our kids are actually really supportive.
Yeah, they want to travel.
Yeah, they're our youngest is 14 and she's planning on going with us and going to live a completely different life, and she's really doing a wonderful job embracing it. I was a little worried because she's going to be a freshman next year, but we found a great school for her to go to, and it's 4 days a week. Like, it's going to be great. And it's an accredited school that is recognized by the U.S. So her diploma in the U.S. too. So it'll give her two different countries where she's getting her diploma in. And they're happy. Our next oldest child, she's 19. She literally just moved out of the house 19 days ago.
Oh my.
Mama here is dealing with her being out of and getting her settled. And then we have our next oldest daughter. She's 21 and she's been out of the house for about 1.5 years now, so it's a little easier, but I think she's the one that's having the hardest time because she's very family focused and oriented. So she's wanting to get our family pictures done and do some good memories and things like that. And then our oldest is 23 and he's in Tennessee. And he's been there for about 3 or 4 years, and he's got his own life really established. So it's not as big of a deal to him as it is.
Yeah. And he's a boy, so sometimes they're like, sounds cool, Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I can imagine it must be pretty difficult because you've been like there for your kiddos the whole time, and then you leaving them. Whenever they leave you, it's just like that's the part of life. They go out and discover their own paths, but whenever a parent chooses to make that decision, which me and Matt are going to be facing in 3 years, leaving our kids as well to travel on the road full time, it's hard because especially on a mom's heart, because I'm a single, like I have sole custody of my daughter. And so it's really hard knowing that you were that lifeline. It's something that I think I wrestle with a lot, and not so much Matt, because he is very much, they can go stay in the dorms, they get to experience that. But I'm still the mom side of things where it's just kind of hard. I can't imagine.
We've had some of those conversations. I actually think it's something that isn't talked about a lot. A lot of times you'll see people that are full-time overlanders, and typically what I see are younger generations, right?
Right. No kids.
20-somethings, no kids, probably have his dog, and they're just living their best life before they just kind of grow roots and settle down, right? And for us,
nowadays they choose a path where they don't want to have kids. They just want to be on their own.
Yeah. And that was actually our biggest, my biggest struggle was, will my youngest want to go? If she doesn't, will she feel like I'm forcing her to? Will our 19-year-old that was living in the house now moving out on their own, will they feel like we're abandoning them? Things like that. And the best thing that we've done is we've just had really open, honest conversation. I think it's kind of where the world is these days too. We talk about mental health all the time and that kind of thing, but yet we see so many parents that are just so unhappy because they're in this rut of, I have to keep making this money to provide things and stuff to my children. And that's what's going to make them happy. And we actually went on a trip. The whole family went on a trip. We went over to Spain and Portugal early this year. And whenever we were coming back, I was just like, I cannot keep working like I'm working.
Yeah.
60, 70 hours a week. I just can't do it. What if I took that 60 and 70 hours a week and put it back into working with my hands again, or thinking about map making and route making, and then how do I pour that time back into my children and being present for them. And with high blood pressure, anxiety medication, all of that stuff, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be around for my kids. So I have to pause, and I really have to refocus on me in order to be better for them. And it sounds so ironic, and we hear it all the time, but people, my friends that are in their 40s are working their ass off.
Yeah.
And what are they working their ass off for?
Yeah.
We just sold it.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. And that's, like you said, a topic that people don't talk about is the mental health, even of parents. Like, we are constantly striving, and I think our kids see that. And I think that we want to teach them that that is not a life, like providing them the basic necessities. We are so saturated by what we have in America. Like, you can go out of the country and see that. I mean, you've traveled. I've been to Costa Rica, and me and my daughter, we went on a cruise, and I took her we went to Jamaica, was one of the ports. And it's a pretty port, but it's not the greatest, of course. And so I chose to take her to an orphanage, and we got to go and see how the kids, and we got to take school supplies. And I think that was probably something that she got to learn from the most. It wasn't the swimming with the dolphins. It was seeing how blessed we are, here. So,
yeah, I do truly believe that, that traveling and experiencing other cultures is half of your education. Obviously, I do believe in a structured education, but man, you got to experience the cultures, and you have to be able to understand them. This world is too small to not.
Yeah.
So,
and you can read so much out of a book, but you will never get to know a person that way. Like, you have to be in the trenches and beside them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping, you hit those crossroads in life, right? So I'm hoping I'm doing what's best for my family and myself. And so far it's been good. Like, I've worried more than I've needed to.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's just a lot of unknowns right now. Like, oh, I do have to ask you, how do you sell everything? Because there's things that we're going to have a storage unit, because I just can't part with some of these things.
Girl, we got a storage unit.
Okay.
So at first we were like, no storage unit. It's not going to have one. We're going to get rid of this stuff. So the first stage, we sold our house. And so we cleared everything out. We had an estate sale. And I would say 80% we sold or donated. And then we had a 5x10 storage unit. Okay. And it was pretty full. Most of it was saved for our daughter moving out. We kept like our dishes, our glasses, utensils, silverware, pots, pans, things like that we knew she would need. We just kept that stuff to help her move out. And now we're at the nitty gritty, right? So we're leaving on Monday, and we have so much stuff, and I don't know. It's the things that I just struggle with. It's the girls' christening gowns, or it's that little. It's the little thing that they made for me for Mother's Day when they were 5, and it's those kinds of things. I'm like, oh, I can't get rid of it yet, and those are the hard things. And even like weird stuff, like this sounds so crazy, but I'm just keeping it real, because I want people to hear this and hear that it's just a normal thing. Like your shampoo bottles, like, do you just throw out the half-used shampoo bottle, or does the person that wants to use everything up, do they actually, like, do you pack it and like carry that shit all the way over there, like half across it's those kinds of things that are so dumb, and it seems so small, but it's crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah, I think of like blankets. Like, you don't need 1,000,001 blankets. We have 1,000,001 blankets at our house, and I'm thinking, but I have this really soft blanket and this other blanket. So it's just little, and picture frames. Like, I'm looking at pictures around, like just things like that. And I know you you said that you sold your house first. Did you have someone like come in and like do things for you, or did you do it all yourself? Because I think that would even be harder.
Yeah, we actually we hired an estate company to come and sell everything we had, and we thought there's no way we're going to pay somebody 40% commission. That's stupid. Like whenever we're first talking about it, we're talking all this smack, like we're going to do this. And we're like, that's stupid. 40% commission. That's like $5,000. We're not going to pay somebody $5,000. And then we started going through it. And we were like, how do we price? I mean, how do we price your Christmas ornaments? There's just so much stuff. And they go through and they did it all. They sorted everything. They priced it. They labeled it. We just had to get a hotel room and get out of the house for 48 hours.
See, that's one thing. You just reminded me of something else I would struggle with, because every year we get a new ornament. Every one of us in our family, we get a new ornament. Like we have a tree that's dedicated to personal ornaments only.
Yes. And
I'm getting sad just thinking about it.
I went through and we did the same thing, and I pulled out. I said I was going to keep 10% of the ornaments I had, and so I pulled out my 10% most important ones, and I've got those packed to take down there. But the rest we sold or we donated. And we made after the estate agent was done. They packed everything for us, and as they were packing, they typed out a list of it for us, descriptions of what we had left. We sent it all to donation, and then we got our receipt for Goodwill. And then next year on our taxes, we can itemize those. And I'll tell you, like a man's long sleeve dress shirt with the state of Oklahoma is a $10 tax credit.
Well, at least we know Oklahoma is good for something.
So you add up like 5,000 units of things that you've donated. It's going to be a great tax write-off next year. So
yeah, for sure. Missy just is saying hey, and Arla was on here earlier saying hey girl, hey, and I just wanted to thank them for that retreat again. It was amazing connecting us women together, and I'm super thankful.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Hi everyone.
So did you have a blast at the retreat? I know that was the first time we met. Is that the first time you had ever like went out by yourself?
In my past life I've done things on my own, but this is the first time. My husband's always out there tinkering and doing things to it, so I feel like every time I get in it, there's something different, like it's changed or layout. Like I'm a person that like I set it and forget it, one and done. This is the way it's going to be for forever. But he likes to go in there and perfect it and change it and make it better and all that.
That's me and my husband to a T.
Yeah. So going out and using it, I really told him, I was like, I want to go to get to meet other women in the industry that I can help connect with. And B, just to practice using the gear. And because if there's an emergency situation or something, it's always prepare to self-rescue, right? Like you have to be able to figure it out and get out on your own if you have to. So the best way to do it is to practice. So I loved it. I thought it was so much fun.
I did too.
And I'm telling you,
I loved all the ladies there. No matter how hot it was great.
The river was like a saving grace. So it was fantastic. And I slept great at night. It was wonderful. So
well, I had the air conditioner, so I slept pretty good too.
Yes. I was a little jealous, I will say.
Yeah. Well, I will say I'm fixing to be going to Overlanding the Red. That's going to be happening in October, and I'm going to be going by myself to that too. And I literally will only know Cindy Pope and maybe a couple other ladies there, but it's like it's men and women. So that's going to be really getting me out of my comfort zone, just being around these people that I have no idea who they are. But that's one of the reasons, like you said, and I think your husband probably goes out there and perfects things because he has experience with it. He has been able to do that kind of stuff. So I think the more like used to things that you get, I think you'll start learning things that you want to adjust to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I did come out with some takeaways and some feedback for him. We had just got done setting up our second battery system, so it was the first time we had tested out. And I told him when I got back, I was like, "Guess what? I only that the Forerunner sat for 3.5 days.
Yeah.
3.5 days, and I kept that refrigerator going the whole time, and I only started the vehicle for an hour. So between our second battery that we had in the Forerunner and then our Goal Zero pack, I was able to keep the refrigerator going. So for me, I was like really happy. I gave him some great feedback on it because it was the first time we had taken it out with the second battery system and got to experience that. So it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was able to, we had a lot of power. Like I had, I think, 2 power stations, and I had to take one to one of the bathrooms because I started getting worried about that. But then finding out later that the fridge battery doesn't really depict like an accurate, like it could keep going. It's just whatever. It's just a guesstimate, I guess is what he said. But I started getting worried because that started going down, and how we want to make sure that we have plenty of power for that fridge and all the things because you're just not used to it. So I left there feeling so much confident because I'd practiced at home before we went out, setting up my tent and that kind of thing, doing all of those things. But I never actually had to do it by myself. And so I left and I was just like, okay, if I ever go camping now, I can do all of this myself without just sitting in a chair while waiting on Matt. Like I can help.
Yes. And I think that's the best. Yeah. I mean, just to know the rigs and the tools and all that. I know typically, I don't know if you and your husband do this, but we each have roles, right? Like I'll set up the tent and he'll set up the kitchen. And then he actually usually cooks. And then
so does my husband.
Yeah. And then I'll usually clean up. So
yeah,
it was really good. I just really enjoyed it. It was very, I want to say empowering, but it just felt good to be able to go out and do it and just do it on your own. Just enjoy it. So.
Yeah, totally. It was a blast. So you are shipping then your vehicle to Costa Rica? Like, how does that
no,
work?
we're so on July 25th, 5 days. I had to look down at my date real quick on my computer. In 5 days, we're flying. So my daughter, myself, and Jeff are all flying. And then on the 26th, we're getting fingerprinted for residency. And then on the 27th, Jeff is actually flying back to the States. And then him and a friend are going to drive from here down to Costa Rica. They're driving the whole way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long will that drive be?
We're estimating anywhere between 17 and 21 days, depending on how the border crossings go, because he's got 6 different countries to go through. So the border crossings could be a couple hours or it could be 8 hours. It just depends on what's going on at the borders at the time they get there.
Wow. Are there any concerns as far as safety goes with that whole crossing? And I just want to say, Matt came on here and said Cara's role was wrangle the puppy. My role is everything else, which is easier. So that's so true lately. Goose is a mess. He's full
growing up though.
Yeah, he's gotten bigger and he's like a lug. Like anyways.
Wrangle the puppy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Pretty much
I love Goose. He's so adorable.
There's a patch coming soon. Just so you know.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. We've had some that's actually what our parents' biggest fear is. They're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna get stolen by the cartel and we're gonna find your arm in the lake. We don't
Is this the same dad that took you everywhere?
No, he's fine with me going.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
the other 3. And it's like with everything you do, you have to do your research and you have to know where activity is and where it's not. And we've talked with several people that have just driven through Central America and what routes are best. We actually are on a couple of Facebook pages, overlanding through Mexico, things like that. And they actually are, it's such great information because it's real-time information. And they describe the fake roadblocks and what the people look like and what they're asking for. So we're already prepared for all that information whenever it does happen. So if there is a roadblock or somebody tries to pull us over with that description, you just keep driving. Just ignore them. Just keep driving. Don't stop. And
that's terrifying me.
Yeah, but the worst that really will happen, and this is from my experience when I was younger, is you get pulled over and they're like, give me $100. And you're like, I don't have $100. And then it's a game. It's a mind game. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so who's the bigger inconvenience? Right now, they're trying to make themselves a bigger inconvenience for you as a traveler. If you're an overlander, what do you have the most of? Yeah. It's not money. You got the most of time. And so guess what you're going to do? Pop out your lunch, sit around, offer them a cerveza.
You don't think they're going to cut off an arm in the process?
Nah. Nope. Offer them a cerveza, tell them you got $5. Wait 4 hours, you're through. Like it really is that simple. And here's the other thing. Knowing and understanding the culture, they're just trying to get a little bit extra money to feed their family.
Yeah.
They're people too. And so there are a drug cartel. There is things like that happens. It's no different than driving through, driving through a bad part of Dallas or LA or Chicago. Mm-hmm. It's no different. You just have to know, where do you drive through or where do you not drive through? What do you drive around? That's true. And that's it. So it really is that simple. I know that sounds crazy.
No, I think it's just so scary because I feel like we have more control because we know that education and where we need to go and where we don't need to go. But for Mexico, a lot of to that is unknown. Like, we don't know the area. We are not the locals. And I wouldn't say that we're locals in the bad part of Dallas either, and I'm just using your example, or Houston or anywhere, there's places everywhere. I'm not just picking on Dallas. But I think that's the scary part, is that we just don't know. There's so many movies, there's so much TV about the cartel and everything. And like, you immediately think you're getting killed, you're getting your kidney taken out, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just have to you have to own the situation. You have to speaking the language does help.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure that's going to help y'all.
Yeah, it's not necessary, and you just have to be confident on the moves that you make. And again, when it comes down to it, just remember that they have families they're going home to, and they're trying to get some extra money to feed them, mm-hmm. Or I don't know, maybe his wife has anniversaries, forgot to get her present. Who knows?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that you have to try to take it in stride and remember that we aren't pressed for time and we can just go. And if we have to stop at a fake checkpoint for 4 or 5 hours, and that's just what you end up doing. And that's why the timeline is 17 to 24 days, because things can come up. Right now, I think it's in Guatemala. It's really difficult to drive through at all because there's protests that are happening, and they typically will barricade the highways and you can't get through. They'll put railroad ties down and light them on fire and stuff like that. Like, you can't cross, you can't go through, and you just have to wait. You just pull out your tent and, like I said, open up a can of beer and sit down and just wait. Like, and
that's just wild. That's just so wild to even think of, like, for my mind to grasp.
Yeah, if you think about a good comparison, a lot of the recently here in the U.S., a lot of the truckers have been protesting by stopping in the middle of the highways. It's very similar to that. Like, whenever the government's not doing something right, the best way to hurt the heart of a country is to stop its infrastructure. And there's not a lot of highways in these small countries. There's 2 or 3 main highways that are paved, and it's easy to block, and they can get results fast. So again, it's just part of the politics and how you gotta ebb and flow. But I've not ever felt unsafe or uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I felt more unsafe and uncomfortable in cities here in the U.S. than anywhere in the world.
Well, and I think you definitely have an upper hand advantage on the normal person going to out of the country because you can speak the language. Like I can very speak very little, and it's just mostly stuff that like Dora has taught me, so it wouldn't get me very far.
Yes.
Um,
I,
but
I have a fun fact for you.
oh, what?
Okay, I don't know if anybody that's listening knows this or not. You have to put it in the chat.
Okay.
You know that in Spain, Dora teaches English.
Oh, really?
Yes, she
Is her
speaks
name still Dora? I guess it
Yes.
could be. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she speaks English, so she teaches people that live in Spain English.
So Dora is like a world traveler.
Yes, she is.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. It's my fun lesson on Wednesday.
Fun lesson on Wednesday. Yes.
So what was the timeline for you guys? You decided you wanted to do this. So like how did all that go?
So we sat down about 3 years ago. 2019. We sat down
Because you got the house in Costa Rica in 2020.
Mm-hmm. 2019 we sat down and really dug in and looked at our finances and said, okay, what debt can we pay off over the next few years? And our goal was when our youngest graduated high school, so when she turned 18, and I wanted to quit working that last year she was a senior. So it was a 6-year plan. So like I said, I had my fun little BMW M3, loved driving that sucker around, had too many speeding tickets. And we were like, okay, so what's the vehicle we're going to take? So that was our first decision. And we looked at Subarus, we looked at Toyotas, and we looked at Jeeps. And although we loved the Subaru, it wasn't a great platform for worldwide recognition to get it fixed. We looked at Jeeps, but they weren't quite big enough for us. So then we went to Toyotas. That's where we defined between a Tacoma or a 4Runner and what we wanted it to do for us. So we chose the 4Runner to be the best platform. Traded in my car, got the 4Runner, started outfitting that. And then in the same process, we purchased the house in Costa Rica and just started setting those things in place. Well, with the economy the way it is and the housing industry the way it was, I know it's cooled off a bit. We knew we were going to be able to bank about twice as much as we normally would
on your house, yeah.
Or even if we waited 3 or 4 more years, if the recession hit, we might not have even gotten as much. So selling the house now was a great idea. And then we also had a second 4Runner. And
really?
That was paid off, and we were able to sell it and get a really nice chunk because you know
there wasn't that many vehicles either.
Yeah, so we were able to capitalize on that, and just with the acceleration of my health and not doing as good as I have been doing in the last 5 or 6 years or so, that was kind of the perfect storm that created an ability to sell all of our things to maximize our liquidity. Yep.
So you got the house in 2020, and then did you decide, like, what made you think, July the 25th of 2022, we're going to hit the road, Jack?
How did the date happen? Yeah. So we went to Portugal and Spain in February, March of this year, and had just a wonderful time. We were flying back. And like, I was seriously almost in tears. I'm like, I don't want to go back to work. 2 weeks is not long enough. I need more time. And Jeff's like, hello, Joey. Jeff's like, just quit. Just leave. I'm like, I can't do that, dude. And so I was like, I need a spreadsheet. So he did a spreadsheet, like mapped it all out, looked at the liquidity of what we thought we could get for all of our assets. And then I said, okay, well, I think I can work till July, like July 5th. Let's do July 5th. And as we got progressing, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it another 4 weeks. So I backed it up to June 3rd. We thought we could financially pull it off because we sold our house for so much more than what we thought we were going to sell it for. And then right now, from the 5th to the 25th, we had a Spanish exchange student come to us 3 years ago, and she lived with us for a year.
Okay.
And she's actually here visiting us from Spain right now.
Oh, wow.
So we have been trying to get her here for 3 years, but because of COVID, either her country was locked down or the U.S. was locked down, and we couldn't get her here. And so it's her first chance to get back to the U.S. since she's left. And so we are hosting her right now. So
at an Airbnb.
At an Airbnb. So we are letting her enjoy all the joys of the Oklahoma summer.
There's so much joy in that, let me tell you.
I know. Let me tell you, her goal is like Chick-fil-A, cookie dough, and swimming. Like, that's what we're doing. So
that sounds like an amazing time.
Yeah, they don't sell cookie dough in the tub in Spain. So she loves that.
Chick-fil-A. I'm sure there's not a Chick-fil-A.
Nope.
And that's the Lord's chicken right there.
Yeah. And so we've been doing a lot of all of that. So she actually flies out 2 hours before we leave on July 25th.
Wow. I see that, and I think I'm a Christian, and I think God just made it to where you could have this time off with her. She was able to get here, for one thing. That's a huge, blessing in itself. And then you're able to be off, and then she's leaving right before you leave. Like, the timing of it seems like it was just planned out.
I do. I feel the same way too, Cara. Like, things happen for a reason. And having an opportunity to go to Spain and visit her and her family and see how happy they were. And it's just a different lifestyle there.
Yeah.
Again, you aren't living to work. You live for family and you live for travel. And it just really hammered into my head real hard at that point. And it worked out. And I'm really lucky for that. Starbucks is an amazing company. Amazing. But it just falls with the American standard of how hard you have to work to be able to sustain. And I just wasn't willing to do that anymore. I needed to make a mind shift. So
yeah, well, I'm super proud of you, because that's a huge, to put the pencil to the paper and to actually get going on it. It's really hard. And I think once you get over there, you'll be like, it was like I worried for nothing, and here it is, this great, like, I should have done this a long time ago. But it's in this process of not knowing and planning and ironing out the details and letting go of some things that it's a struggle.
Yeah. And it does help because, there's been a few people, literally less than I can count on my hand, the amount of people that I know that have done a big change like this. Mm-hmm. But I can say that every single one of them did not regret it.
Oh, yeah.
And the worst that's going to happen is that I'm not happy there either.
And then you can just come back. Yeah.
Like, it's life.
Yeah.
It's
and short. I think that's where people think that you're stuck. No, you have a choice. You can change, and you can, like, if you are not happy where you are, you just leave. Like, we met Barry Bonds at Expo Pacific Northwest. He's an amazing guy. Insane. He came up to us and he was like, "You don't know who I am, but I know who you are." And I was like, "You're right. I don't. Who are you?" And then he told me, and I was like, "Cool. Walk away." Like, I still didn't know who he was. Like, Barry Bonds does not pop up in my head. Like, if you were like Matthew McConaughey, I know who you are. Yes, I do. But I did not know who Barry Bonds was. But anyways, he said that he was never a camper. Like, and he was just like, a guy asked him all these questions, and if he could only say check or not check, and was asking me, like, have you ever wanted to travel and to see the world? Check. He's like, have you ever went to a restaurant, you didn't like what they served you, and you left? Check. He's like, you can always just go a different way. Like, there's not, the roadblocks we make are in our heads. Like, you can always just pivot.
Yes. Yeah. And it's opposite of what our culture tells us. Our culture tells us to settle down, grow deep roots, don't move, stay true.
Strive until you are happy and successful. And we are constantly striving to be happy or successful at something rather than with who we are. and we will never be happy with a thing until we're happy with ourselves.
Yeah. Yep. That's the hardest thing, is finding your self-happiness. Like, what does it mean? Some people, it does mean working hard and really being involved in
the corporate,
the corporate world and that kind of thing. Some people are just happy, like sitting in a nook and reading a book all day. Like, it's just completely different for each individual. It doesn't fit. It's not a one size fits all. So
no, and I think that's beautiful. That's what's beautiful about it. We can all be different.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So you're leaving the 25th, getting fingerprinted on the 27th, then like going into your home, setting it up, waiting for your husband to get there with a vehicle. How are you feeling your days there?
So right now I'm really gonna focus on my daughter, and she starts school down there September 5th. So we have about a month to get situated. One of the things that I committed myself to doing was to really focus on my health, both what I am putting into my mouth and what I am working on with my muscles. And so those are the two big things, is working out every day in some way and eating healthy, really trying to work on the holistic foods, change my diet. Again, we have so much access to food here in America, but it's so easy to get it. We don't always know what's in it. And truly in Costa Rica, you literally reach outside, pick a mango off the tree and consume it. And you know what you're eating. And so I'm really looking forward to that and just getting healthier. And then the first break that Taylor gets, we're already talking about taking not a big trip, but hitting Panama or Nicaragua, either north or south of the border of Costa Rica, and starting to get those stamps. So
so exciting.
Yeah, and so we'll do that, and then when my daughter's on her long summer break, she'll come back to the U.S. to visit her dad, and Jeff and I are gonna we'll take big trips. So we'll either with or without Bluebell right now. We'll take some big trips. We can fly direct from San Jose to basically anywhere in South America for less than $200 or $300 each round trip. So
Gotcha. We went to Costa Rica. We got to go because of Matt's company. Whenever he was actually working at sales, they sent us. We got to go to Guanacaste, I think is where it was at. It's like all shell beach. The beach was like full of shells or whatever. But we actually had a special day where we went. We hired someone local to do like an excursion. So we went to Arenal and got to see the area around like the volcano and got to hold a sloth and do kind of those things. So one of the pictures that you had sent over, I have to ask, is this in Costa Rica? Because I feel like I've seen this waterfall, but like you have to climb steps down.
Yes. So there are tons and tons of waterfalls.
Yes.
This particular one, we were over by Arenal, and we were leaving, and we stopped by a brewery, and the guy was from Georgia, I think, that owned it.
Random.
And Georgia, the state, not the country.
Right.
And he, we said, hey, is there anything around here that we should go see?
Around here, you're in Costa Rica, child.
Yeah, but like we try not to do like I want to hit the touristy spots, but it's more like, oh, there's the Eiffel Tower, it's so beautiful. Okay, let's go. Let's find a cafe.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, so we saw Arenal, we saw La Fortuna.
That's what I thought this was, is La Fortuna.
No, it doesn't even have a name. It's he said, go down this road, turn where you see this tree, turn there,
right.
And then you'll see up on your left an old entry, climb the fence, and it's about 1.5 kilometers down. It says no trespassing, but just keep going, it's fine. So that's what we did.
That's awesome. You're fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, so it was free, and we took some time and we swam, and it was just Jeff and I. Nobody was around because I don't think we were supposed to be there.
Well, it's not a touristy place, yeah.
Yeah, but a local guy told us to go check it out, and we found it. Yeah. So it was a really great, spontaneous, fun, just a beautiful place to go. And I don't know what it's called. I did ping it on my Google Maps so that I would remember where it was later.
So are you going to be centrally, or are you going to be, where are you located? Don't give away, I don't want to know your address or anything. You can tell me.
Oh, well, it's fine. I can tell you the town. It's Hako. It's a surf community. It's on the Pacific side, about mid-country, and it's the best surfing in the country. And so I'm hoping to do some surfing and stuff like that. But
I was going to pull up and see what how do you spell it?
Jaco.
Oh, Jaco.
Mm-hmm. And it's a surfing community. It's a family community. It's a party town. That's awesome. It's a little of everything. There's a lot of yogis that go there.
Okay, so it's 3 hours from Guanacaste.
Yes.
That's because that's where we were at. Okay, I have to see it on the map. So are you going to be able to use like Gaia and all those things while you're in Costa Rica? Does all of that, is there off-road stuff?
Oh man, yes, there is. There's all kinds of off-road places. You could actually go there. I can't remember. If somebody wants to know what it is, they can reach out to me. I'll give my stuff at the end. But there's a place where you can actually just fly in, and you can get anything from a Land Cruiser to a Jimny, and it's completely outfitted for you, and you can go overlanding.
That'd be way cool.
Costa Rica. So,
I don't even know what a Jimny is. What is that?
It's like a Suzuki Samurai.
Oh, okay. Okay, that would be fun.
They still produce them down there, and it's so cute.
Gotcha. That sounds so much fun. So Hyde's Overland Adventures has, what's living cost? And he had mentioned in another thing, compared to in Oklahoma. What's the cost of living over in?
Oh man, it's so amazing. We're anticipating our cost to be about $1,500 a month. That doesn't include housing because we did purchase our home already. So you can rent a really nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath Tico type home for between $250 and $500 a month.
That's crazy.
And so $1,500 will get us anything we need. And here in Oklahoma, the house that we had and everything, we were about $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
So,
and depending on what you splurge on and what you don't.
Exactly. But yeah.
Over there's like just you splurge on outdoor stuff. So
it's all about the outdoors there. If you do something, it's outdoors. The locals are into the sunsets. You go down to the beach and it's
the Pura Vida lifestyle.
Yes, you bring a 6-pack of Imperial, and you sit there on the beach and you watch the sunset. That's what you do.
Snorkel. You can do. There's just, I mean, compared to Oklahoma, man, that's a lot. It's living a dream to go to Costa Rica. Costa Rica is beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot to do there. A lot to do. I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's going to be completely different. Completely different.
I'm so happy for you, and I appreciate you coming on. I know we were supposed to meet on Monday, but it was crazy. It was the Mondayest of Mondays ever. So I appreciate you for coming on today for us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So tell everybody where they can meet up with you, or they can message you to find out all of the ins and outs and to follow along on your journey, because I assume that you're going to be sharing all this.
Yes. So we have already started. So our Instagram is our main focus for telling our story. And that is at Pura Vida Journeys. It's PURAVIDA.
Just like the bracelets, if you have any.
Yes, just like the bracelets. JOURNEYS. And that's my husband's Instagram. But him and I both share kind of the posting and the pictures. And then I have an Instagram that's Mrs. Pura Vida Journeys. And but it's not quite as focused on just just the Forerunner. I sometimes post random stuff on there.
Yeah.
And then my husband has a blog, which is at Pura Vida Journeys. So everything is branded for that same line and everything's connected. So if you follow on Instagram, you'll be able to connect to all the other links in the bio. So it makes it really easy. But we're excited. We're trying to post every day now, just things that we're doing or going through. But if anybody has any questions or just curious, we love to share. And we'll give you the real. Like, we've had a lot of days of crying, and me, not my husband, but me. A lot of days of crying and wondering if this is the right thing. But
I was going to ask you, what's been the hardest?
The last day walking out of our house. Yeah. Because I had it built. Like, we had the house built for what we thought we wanted. But we've already moved past what we had. So I'm okay now, though. I feel great.
Yeah.
So it's just that was.
I think the hardest days are going to come, like saying goodbye to your kiddos. And
this week is tough. We did a family dinner last night, and then on Friday we are having a get together at the Patriarch here in Edmond.
I know. I wish we could come.
Everybody's invited, but I'm also nervous about that. It's super casual. Come have a beer with us, hang out, ask questions. We did not plan anything. Like, it's not a formal party or anything, but just like it's
get a hug in.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'll have some tears that night too, but it'll be okay.
Oh, well, you're a brave soul, and I admire it. I can't wait. I would love to go, and I'm glad you're going to be there, because now I'll have a point of contact and be like, let's go to Costa Rica.
Yes, absolutely. And again, our door's open, just like it was in Oklahoma, which is not as attractive to go to. Our doors.
Everybody's got to drive through there to get to someplace.
That's true. Our door is always open, and we mean that truly. Even if we don't know you very well and you're in Costa Rica and you need help, we will be there for you. So our motto is to help others where they may need the most support. And even if it's just a question like, where do you go to have a good beer or to watch a sunset, to help, I'm stranded on the side of the road and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're always there. So, and we mean that from our hearts. If you need a place to crash, we're there. So
y'all are amazing people.
Thank you.
I can't wait to follow along on the blog. I hope he keeps that up while he's doing all of his going through the different countries. Yeah, I want to know how that's like.
We set up a plan. I think he's going to. I'm gonna edit the pictures while he's traveling, and then he's gonna write at night, and then I'm gonna post them for him. So
that'd be great.
I'm gonna kind of do a tag team with the posting and that kind of thing. So,
and I just saw on his, that's puravitajourneys.org. So
yes,
that's where we can go. Okay,
that's his blog.
Sweet. I'm excited. Yep. Well, thanks for coming on. I hope you have the greatest trip. And I hope that you're able to definitely heal over there mostly. So
I hope so too. I see people, I never see a person sad there.
No.
They're so happy, and it's pure. Pura Vida is definitely the motto they live by. And
yes.
They don't have a lot, but they're happy.
Oh yeah. That's what you don't need a lot to be happy. Anyways, that's a whole nother
exactly.
All right. Well, you have a great day. And again, I appreciate you, and I love you, girl. You've been amazing.
Cara. It's wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Have a great afternoon.
Okay. Thanks, Joey.
Bye.
Bye.